welcome to another episode of Second Guessing with Stressan. Again, sorry, new software. I don't know why it doesn't auto add me to the stage, but yeah, and I apologize too that I didn't really give a notice. Normally I'm Wednesdays at 9, but obviously it is a holiday week, so happy early Thanksgiving. But it's probably going to be a hectic week for me as far as trying to stream. So I figured I would go ahead and get it out now. And I wanted to try and recap the Bills game sooner. And so sorry that we'll dive into the Bills game and be looking at the past, but I'll probably do a lot of that with some preview on the Colts. I haven't personally dug in quite a bunch yet myself, but we can do some of that as well. I'll try and do, a show maybe Saturday night before the Colts game, but obviously that is a huge matchup. But yeah, so I mean, big win against the Bills. Y'all know me, I'm optimistic and kind of been I haven't written this team out. I've been thinking that they can definitely still contend and get a chance to make the playoffs. And here we are in a great position. So and to me, the reason why I've always thought this is from what we saw on Thursday, which is we have an elite defense. Like it's been the same thing last year, this year. As far as we've always said, we all agree that hey, all we need is an average to slightly above, or now even like slightly below average offense to be a legit contender. And I've seen this defense and every year really, but especially last year and this year, like the Lions game, getting 5 interceptions and still losing. Packers game, getting +3 in the turnover, still losing. The Titans game, getting 8 sacks and still losing. Like the defense, like puts these performances in week in and week out, and they still find a way to lose because the offense doesn't carry their water. So they don't complement them as far as moving the ball. They go 3 and out. And then when the defense does get turnovers for them in their other opponent's red zone, they don't convert on those. And this was another classic Texans game in the sense that they dominated the game and they played with their food and they didn't put the opponent away. So, but regardless, I mean, we went 3-0 with Davis Mills at starting quarterback. So, I guess just real quick, I'm bad about not being scripted. I will shout out all my stuff. It's at Texans Commenter. You can listen on all platforms: X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, or it's either at Houston Stressans on any of those. I have a website, houstonstressans.com. Haven't been writing. I wish I could do it more. I'll probably try to start doing it. I have a free newsletter there if you want to subscribe to that, as well as a store with merch. I'm doing a giveaway on all my platforms. It's the Will Anderson Terminator shirt, which I don't know if I have it out over here to show you guys, but I got plenty of shirts in general. But I mean, I know how it is. Like, it takes getting excited to get pumped up. But I mean, I got all kind of shirts. I got a Stingley shirt, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. This shirt may be coming more in vogue now. Christian Kirk had his best game as a Texan, the new 713 shirt. Hopefully, obviously, I think Stroud will come back and play well against the Colts. But let me get to some comments real quick, and we'll dive back into my thoughts on the Bills game. Shout out my guy, BG. And we got In the Life of Colby on YouTube, throwing up the H's. Let's go. Still tipping RG. Are you still on the Kaylee believer train? Yeah, I am, dude. I mean, I get the frustrations. Like I'm critical of him, but I'm not critical in saying fire him. I mean, he's shown a lot of promise. He has moments that are frustrating, areas to grow, but he's new and young, and it's a system that's not only him growing as a first-time play caller and installing the system, but like the players, the receivers, the linemen, the quarterbacks, they're all also having to get on board. So it's building momentum. And so it sucked. We were in an 0-3 and a 3-5 hole, but guess what? We're 6-5, baby. Like it's all right there. And what kills me is the fact that CJ Stroud had played his best game of his career against the Niners, and then the next game against the Broncos, a really good defense minus Surtain, was also a lot of a good there as well. So, and I really think that, he had turned the corner on this offense as well as the offense as a whole. So I'm expecting him to do well when he comes back. So shout out Texans Swarm 2025. It looked like the Texans ran a lot more stunts than usual. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, so I think they did do that. And listening to interviews from D'Amico, they had a good game plan to rush Josh Allen. But the key with that is a lot of times you can run stunts and then end up having two guys in one gap and leaving a rush lane open, which with a quarterback like Josh Allen, he's literally looking for you rushing and, okay, you run away here, I'm going to replace that and run. So they did a good job of keeping him contained. And that was their whole game plan, was to have Josh Allen create some magic. And that's really been their offense the last couple of years. And that's why we are partially a bad matchup for them. We literally ran cover one with the spy with the Z's pretty much every time. So, they went with the approach of not needing superstar receivers. And so we have two superstar corners that shut down your mid receivers. And so we run man, those guys are eliminated. And then now if you can cover the slot guy or the tight end or the first couple options for Josh, that first read's not there and he wants to run. He's so used to doing that and just running and breaking tackles outside the pocket, but you have Will and Daniil who you can't just run away from. And then the interior guys kind of held their own where he couldn't step up. And then if he even did break loose in that, Azeez is sitting there watching him, waiting to see what he's going to do. So it really messes with him. So let's see here. Shirt not in frame on YouTube. Oh, my bad. I guess I'm on vertical. That's my brother, Darius. Justin Bright says, what's good? Showing love as a Hawks fan. Hey, appreciate that, man. So Hawks got a squad. I mean, you guys got a fun team. We're kind of built similar, honestly. Two dominant defenses. Darius is kind of tripping on this. Start Davis Mills. I don't know about that, bro. Still tipping RG. Not saying that's bad. I like him too. Referencing my previous comment talking about Kaylee. Darius says Kaylee had some good calls last game. It's execution. Yeah, I mean, I think that's mostly true throughout the year. We always want to find a scapegoat, but I think there are times where he kind of messes up. To me, it's still short game, but again, like as you look back in hindsight, it's a clearer picture. Like, his biggest weakness has been short game, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, especially in the goal line, red zone. And you look back, like the games we struggled, like the Seahawks, I believe the Broncos, like all those teams that we struggled in those situations, like they're some of the best defenses, also some of the best interior rush defenses. So he has adapted and started to call more outside runs now that Woody Marks is more involved. I know he wants to be this in between the tackles, physical outfit, but he is showing signs of adjustment and promise there. Justin Bright says, I love this defense. Over on IG, let me get to some of the comments there. Let's see. We got Bennett Gist says, defense has to be perfect every week. Yeah, I mean, offense is putting a lot of pressure on the defense for sure. And I will say this too. We all get frustrated with the way it's played. Me too. I'm not acting like I'm any different than anybody. We all get frustrated with our games. We're always stressing, the games are always close. We feel like we dominate them, but it still somehow comes down to the final play on defense where they have a chance to win. And it's like, do we stop them or not? It's like, that's like 80% of our games. Kaylee seemingly called a conservative second half, and we want to blame him for that. But like, it was the same thing last year with Slowick. How much of this is D'Amico Ryans? I think we know, but it's hard to remember. But like, this is D'Amico Ryans, a defensive-minded head coach. He knows he has the best defense in the NFL. And as the games go on, every game's different. Like, when he gets a sense and a feel for his defense dominating the game, especially now you throw in a backup quarterback, he will have a top-down effect, in my opinion, saying, hey, do not lose this game on offense. Let me win it on defense. So don't have Mills do anything crazy. Try and run the ball, bleed clock. Our defense will win the game. It was risky in how it worked out. It paid off. I think the play calling, I'm still watching the all 22 and I'm looking at stats and stuff, but the play calling, I don't think it was as conservative as we thought. But what I did notice was that a couple of the first drives in the second half were penalties. Like, it was back to the same old stuff that we hate to hear, early down penalties. There was a screen to Nick Chubb, which I need to look at again on the all 22, but there was a screen to Nick Chubb that went for a huge gain on one of the first plays of the first drive of the second half, got called back for an eligible man downfield, but the ball was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. Like, my understanding is the rule is if the ball is thrown behind the line of scrimmage, you can't have an eligible man downfield. So that screwed us. And then we had another one with either a false start or another, like we started to get penalties. Like it sucks. But that's on us, mental mistakes. And the run blocking, they seemingly made an adjustment. I haven't dug into exactly what they did, because I haven't like watched the film fully in the second half, but they obviously changed up because we were gashing them in the first half in the run game. And some of it was good blocking. A lot of it was just Woody Marks making stuff happen. But Mills had his chances to throw the ball too, even though it's just we had 3 and outs, and some of it was receivers, some of it was him. They just didn't capitalize, and they left points on the board in the first half. So, but back over to IG, Poker GTX says Davis or Stroud. I'm not even going to entertain that. And a lot of promises stretch. Not sure what you're talking about there, but Trappin' Ain't Dead says the defense going to humble the Colts. Facts. And then Poker GTX says Stroud has struggled in the red zone a lot also. Mills he did better, obviously, but, it could be that it's Mills versus Stroud and that, but like play calling, in my opinion, has gotten better definitely in the red zone. As far as Kaylee goes, I think opponents obviously also matter. I mean, the Jaguars, I know Stroud had played them before and they lost, but and then Trappin' Ain't Dead said, we are hoping that the O-line can block for Stroud like they did Mills. Yeah, I think they can. And, also in this last game, we saw, again, another year where we've had one of the most combinations of offensive lines in the NFL. And this most recent iteration seems to be pretty legit. So last week, you were forced to roll out a new O-line because of injury. Ed Ingram was out again, and Trent Brown was back. So Trent Brown played right tackle, and Blake Fisher stayed at the, third tackle / tight end and jumbo sets. And you kicked Titus over to right guard, and you kept Patterson at left guard. This game now, Ed Ingram's back. And so their philosophy is the best 5. And the best 5, and I agree with this rollout. Ursary left tackle, Titus now at left guard. So he's played right guard, right tackle, and now left guard in this season. Like, shout out to Titus Howard. Like, he's a guy who's gotten a lot of criticism over the years, and I know he has some frustrating play here and there, but like he is very underappreciated, very underrated, solely from his versatility and selflessness to move across the line. I know some people may say, well, yeah, you're supposed to do that. Like, I don't necessarily agree with that, man. I mean, you see plenty of times where guys will dig their heels and like, no, I'm a tackle, bro. Like, tackles make way more money than guards, especially moving across the line. Like, he has saved this team time and time again. So shout out Titus. But so Titus played left guard. Andrews, obviously center. Ingram, who's been playing great all year, had one bad game before he got hurt. But like, other than that, he's been awesome. Played well again at right guard. And Trent Brown at right tackle. He's not a world beater, but he provides, as part of the best 5, and he's a better option than Fisher. He provides a new element. He's just like a big body. And what we're seeing too with Kaylee now is he's finally pulling tackles. Like, we see a lot of crack tosses where the outside receiver will block the edge defender, and then now the tackle will release and be a lead blocker for Woody. You got Ursary, big ass dude, just rumbling downfield, blocking a cornerback. You got Trent Brown rumbling downfield, blocking a cornerback. So I mean, like, and Woody is better in space with vision like that. So Chase Wilkerson says CJ turns that Bills game into a 15+ point win. I tend to agree. Mills was awesome. You couldn't ask for anything better from a backup quarterback. He still did miss some throws. And so that's basically his comment on that. And then Hefe Brenda says, not saying he's immobile. He just doesn't want to run. So defenses know CJ weaknesses compared to Mills. CJ runs more than Mills because he asked before that, don't you think Mills had a better outing because Stroud is a statue? CJ runs more than Mills. Like, he runs way more, and he started to do that more this year. I don't know if it's about that. I mean, and I will say this, like, there is a silver lining in the fact that anybody in any job, if you are forced to sit back and watch someone else do your job, and everyone's different, especially in sports, like athletes, especially at quarterback. No quarterback in the entire NFL is the same quarterback. They might be similar. So obviously Mills and Stroud are pretty different, but also similar. But my point is like, there's got to be some stuff that he can take away from that. And that's a good thing. Like, and it's things that you can probably have been told or coached, but you really don't see it and get it until you see it. And you've been hearing a lot of stuff from commentators and fans about how there's a lot of pressure on Stroud. I don't disagree with that, and I'm not scared or shying away from it. Like, it's not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. Iron sharpens iron. So, I don't think like if he has a bad game or two bad games that it's like, oh, put back in Mills. Like, obviously fans can do and say that, but like just because that's the noise outside doesn't mean right away, in my opinion, that's what it is internally. Like for me, it's the big picture. Like I've seen what Stroud has done. Even in his first game, I saw him, I was like, this guy has got it, dude. And so, as far as that goes, uh, you know, if he is who we think he is and his mental makeup is what it is, like this isn't a bad thing. Like, oh no, now he's nervous and scared. He has to play. Yeah, that's good. Like, okay, like his back's against the wall. Okay, step up, like silence everybody. And I think he will. And I really thought that he was like balling out, bro. So I'm excited to see him play. So, as my brother Darius says, Mills is a great game manager. So that's one of the things that Stroud can realize. And I think me and my brother had talked about this was, when you have a backup quarterback in the game, it's a different game plan. Like I got the sense from, just what I thought would happen and then listening to interviews and watching the games play out. It really felt like the game plans were like, okay, we have a backup quarterback, although he's pretty damn good and capable, but our game plan is we have the best defense in the league and we will not lose this. We will not let Mills lose this game. And so as Darius says, he's a good game manager. So we had him manage the game. We had him not take any risk. Do this and that. And so that's one thing that Stroud can take away. Like that is the tough thing about young, talented quarterbacks, especially when they had crazy, illustrious careers in college and can do whatever they wanted just because they're more athletic. And now you come to the NFL and it's like, that shit really don't work that way. So he can take that away from Mills, like realizing like, hey, like I don't have to be Superman, bro. And that has been an area where he's needed to improve. And he's said it. And I've said it, like the discipline. And it's for any young, talented quarterback. You see it all the time. And like, again, easier said than done, but like it takes time for these quarterbacks to really get like that discipline muscle going. And that is hitting checkdowns or taking the free cheap yards when they're there, like, the 5-6 rushing yards, but now he needs to learn how to slide. So, and being okay with, 3 and out or not getting a first down as opposed to throwing a pick or taking a big sack. So I think he can benefit from that. I mean, and he probably had the advantage of seeing how good our defense is. Like, damn, bro, like this defense is elite. Like, I don't really have to do much. So being okay with that, I think, is a big thing. So let me get back to some comments on here. Hennessy Black, CJ is the guy. Anyone saying otherwise is crazy. I agree 1,000%. Brandon says Jalen Reed good enough to be a consistent starter. Jalen Reed had a great game, so he didn't start the game. Jalen Mills did, and Mills obviously didn't play that well. And Jalen Reed started getting in, and next thing you know, he's playing the whole game. He definitely had some rookie moments. I mean, it's basically his first ever quote unquote start. You saw Josh Allen identified it and picked on him a couple times in some matchups. There was the pass to the running back Ty Johnson against him down the wheel on the sidelines. There was also another play on a screen. He also had a big missed tackle, but he also led our team in tackles. And he is a physical player, and he fits the swarm mindset. And really, strong safety is a position where he, wants to have a cerebral player. And he seemed to be mentally, the mental mistakes really didn't seem to be that prevalent. So that's a big thing there. And that could be a huge development. Like if he can, and that's like a primetime game on a Thursday, short week, just kind of getting thrown in there against the best offense in the NFL. I mean, like if he handled that, like you would think that it would only get better from there, because Miles Bryant, although he did a good job at strong safety, even though he's a nickel corner, and because MJ Stewart got hurt and Petrie, he got thrusted into strong safety, did an admirable job. This could be a big development for us. And now you throw back in Jalen Petrie, who you would expect to get back against the Colts as your nickel, linebacker essentially, and then now Jalen Reed is your strong safety. Like that's a crazy defense, bro. And so yeah, we were down MJ Stewart and Jalen Petrie, 2 starters in our defense in the secondary, and still did that to the number 1, number 2 offense in the league. So Texan Swarms, how many quarters are you giving Stroud until you put Mills back in if he doesn't play well? He does need to play more conservative and not risk turnovers like Mills would do. I agree with the last part, but how many quarters? I mean, this is all hypotheticals. Like, what does not play well? I mean, it depends. Like, there was games where Mills played good, or it's all relative to what he is as a backup. But I mean, obviously, if you lose 2 or 3 games and it's because of Stroud, then you might have the conversation. But I think it doesn't really do any good to entertain that until it happens, and I don't expect it to happen. So, Brandon says Bill's channels were showing your stuff. Cool. Were they showing the video? I know I posted a video about D'Amico talking about the Bills and their pass protection and how they didn't chip at all. Their game plan was different than what we had seen, and the fact that they let their linemen go one-on-one. And, they felt pretty good about their O-line, who was touted as one of the best O-lines in the league. And we saw what happened. Will and Daniil, and even the interior guys, Settle and Edwards and whoever else in the middle, Rankins, they went to work, bro. Like, they got one-on-one matchups. They didn't get chipped. And we saw what happened with that, and that's how they play. And some and most teams they can beat, but like the way we're built, that doesn't work against us. Justin says it's going to be better for Houston. Us Hawks fans used to be having heart attacks during games, whether we are winning or losing. He says, I like how Higgins looked past couple weeks. So yeah, Higgins is continuing to get worked more and more into the offense. I knew this would be a big Higgins game because, there was this whole dialogue too early on when Mills stepped in for Stroud and is like, oh yeah, he throws it to Nico. Yeah, throw it to Nico. He's the best receiver. Stroud never does that. Not true. Stroud made Nico who he is, essentially. Like, I mean, all the stuff we've seen Nico do for the past 2 years is because of Stroud. The difference is teams adjusted to that and realized, like, hey, this guy's a stud. That's his favorite target. Let's double team him and force him to throw it elsewhere. That's what happens. And then you have to, play the defense. And so there's been kind of that whole cat and mouse, and more so early on this year. And that's part of the whole too high shell that we started seeing last year. Stroud proved that he could play quarterback a certain way. So now defenses respect him, and the approach is to give him underneath stuff and force him to dink and dunk. And so, now it kind of reset when Mills comes in, like, oh, it's a backup. Like, let's blitz his ass. Let's run man, blah, blah, blah. And, first couple games, Mills was taking advantage. Like, when they ran man, he would immediately just throw to Miko, which is great and smart. But I suspected going into this game, the Bills, based off how they run their defense already, they run zone, they run 2 high shells, and then coupled with the fact that Mills has proven that he's a capable starter and is a threat, that they should take away Nico. And that's what happened. He only had 3 targets. Why did Mills just throw him the ball? Like, that whole argument was dumb. Like, the reason why is because you play the defense. You take what they give you. And finally, now in this game, the Bills took away Nico, so he threw it elsewhere. And guess who was open a lot? Higgins. And Higgins had 4 or 5 catches for 50-something yards or whatever it was in a touchdown, but he had like double-digit targets, and he was missed on like 3 touchdowns. The first one was a corner where he juked the guy out of his socks. I kind of put that on Higgins because he beat him so bad that he kind of like broke his corner route into an out route, and Mills kind of still threw him high. But there were a couple other ones on some go balls where he missed them that could have been touchdowns. So Darius says there were some drop passes. I mean, the first one was won by Stover. Also not a great ball to Stover, the first one. But, I mean, both can be true. Drop pass, and he threw it low on the rollout right in front of him. The Christian Kirk one was a drop. That was a great throw by Mills to fit it in there. But really, that play, I don't feel like there was much open there. And then there was another Stover drop, which was, I forget which down it was, but it was in the second half that killed one of those drives. But yeah, I mean, there was 3 drop passes. Those are the 3 that I just mentioned right there. Brandon says, almost as if there was a Bills ref there till the turf took him out. That's hilarious. Shout out Dime. He says, what's up? Justin, I think Houston is going to load the box and force Jones to throw. That will be a big advantage. Yeah. So, I mean, on the Colts, I mean, I've been saying it all year, like, why are the Colts good? Because their offense is good. Why is their offense good? Because of Jonathan Taylor runs the shit out of the ball. They're in second and short, third and short. Now you can run play action. Now you have the whole playbook open. Anytime, and they've played, they're 8-2 or whatever it is now. They really haven't played that many great run defenses. And when they have, they've either lost or had really close games. Like the Rams, good run defense, lost. Broncos, good run defense, barely won, kicked the game winner, missed it, penalty, then re-kicked it, won. And then you had the Chiefs, decent run defense, lost. And the Chiefs really dominated that game. And Jonathan Taylor was bottled up, and Daniels Jones was forced to throw the ball, and he didn't come through. Like, he was pretty bad in the second half of that game. And so, yeah, I expect the Texans to heat up Daniel Jones and load the box and stop the run and put the ball in his hands. And maybe he comes through, maybe he doesn't, but that should be a sound, simple game plan, in my opinion. Hennessy Black, do you think there is a change Patterson gets in at center since Andrew, in my humble opinion, has struggled? I haven't thought about that, but that's an option. I mean, I think Andrews is like, he's just middle of the pack. So it's like tough to really, move him in or out. If you talk about chemistry at the O-line, center might be like one of the biggest pieces. The same consistent guy calling the plays and helping with protection, all that stuff. So that's a big part of it. But I haven't thought about that, but who knows? It could happen. Dime says just need special teams to clean their game up, and we're Gucci. Yeah, that's been crazy, man. Frank Ross has definitely, I don't know what's going on, but I mean, back-to-back games, punt return by Jags and then kick return by the Bills. Like, the Bills offense got shut down, bro. Like, they had 6, and then basically most of their points, they had a special teams touchdown, but they only had like 10 points essentially otherwise, or 13 points or 12 points. So let's see. Yep, Chase said that about Stroud. Catching up to some comments. Tennessee, do you think there's a chance Patterson? I just read that. I'm an idiot. Ryan, how do you see the rest of the season playing out? How do the Texans story end? I mean, I'm always optimistic. I don't want to start getting overhyped and cocky, but I'll just say this. They have a chance to win every game left on their schedule. We got the Colts twice. I think we match up well against them. We have the Colts twice, and I think we have the Cardinals and Raiders. Obviously you don't count those as wins, but you should win those. And then you have the Chargers, who everyone thought was this and that. Turns out, they got donkey stomped by the Jags the week before. Their O-line sucks. That doesn't look like an imposing matchup. And then the Chiefs, the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. I mean, that's a tough win in Arrowhead. That's like getting the monkey off your back. So those are the 6 games there. I think we have a chance to win all of those games. Will we win all of them? I don't know, but I like our chances. And I think we will and should make the playoffs. And I think, and I've been saying this, the division is not out of play, bro. We win this game against the Colts, we're 1 game back. And yes, the Jags are ahead of us, but the Jags, they got an easier schedule between the 3 of us. The Jags are the Jags. I could see the Jags losing to the Titans this weekend. The Titans have been playing better as of late. And they played the Chargers close. They played us close, although backup quarterback on the road, injuries, etc. The Seahawks pretty much handled them that game, but it wasn't they showed some fight in that game, and against a really good Seahawks team, better than a lot of other teams that played the Seahawks. Let's just put it that way. And so now you have the Jaguars division game. Cam Ward, they're trying to develop for the future. They could win that game. So if you're the Jaguars, I'm not counting that as a dub. And so let's see. Brandon says, makes you wonder if the Texans will go with 4-3 again against or nickel against the Colts. Yeah, so I mean, I would assume more 4-3. They ran a lot of 4-3 against the Bills. I haven't dove into the numbers, but I mean, the Colts have 3 tight ends that are all viable. Obviously, Tyler Warren's a beast. Mo Alley Cox, and I forget the other guy's name. He's more of a bigger guy. But that being said, they probably run a lot of 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, or even 13 personnel. So you naturally match that with the 4-3 anyway. So I would assume a lot of their run game is helped by heavier personnel. And so even if they don't, you would probably do that. But now you have Petrie back. So, technically that to me is a 4-3. I consider Petrie a linebacker. So he's an X factor, bro. We were kind of forced to run a 4-3 with not having Petrie. And it worked. Speed and Henry To'oTo'o did well. But yeah, so that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. So Darius says felt like Mills got the calls in quicker and quicker to the line of scrimmage. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it is relative to Stroud, but I mean, he definitely. I think that's stuff that they acknowledged, that he is good at the operations, which it sounds corny and cheesy, like we all hate to hear it. And that was an issue earlier in the year. Maybe that was Stroud adjusting, but if Mills seemingly did pretty well, although they did have a delay of game, I think that was one of the penalties in the second half. But I mean, overall, this statement seems to be pretty true. And what I did notice too from Kaylee was he did a couple times in the red zone where he tempoed into a play and it worked. Like, yes, thank you. Like, we got a touchdown off of that. Like, we tempoed into the Christian Kirk play, caught him off guard, miscommunication, boom, touchdown. Like, there's things you can do on your own to help yourself as a play caller. So, Dime, I hope CJ takes away stepping up in the pocket more and not losing so many yards on sacks. Yeah, and so we've all been on him for stepping up in the pocket, and I feel like he has started to do better. I really felt like he kind of lost that trust after last year, after having Kenyon Green and Shaq Mason as your two guards who got beat inside, so you couldn't step up in the pocket. And so I feel like he's improved, but needs to continue to improve in that. And yeah, the sacks, he has a weird way of making a 5-yard sack into a 10-yard sack. Like, it can be a manageable one. And part of that is knowing when to take your medicine. Like there was some in the Seahawks game where he could have just gone down at 5 yards, instead tries to make a hero play, and it's like a 16-yard sack. So I definitely agree with that. Justin asked if Tank Dell is coming back. More than likely not. Aaron Wilson's been reporting that. In the life of Colby, Stroud plays good under pressure to me as far as criticism. I agree, man. I agree on that. Chase, one second. I'm going to get a sip of water here. CJ scared to step up. That interior D-line pressure last year was insane. Yeah, so that's basically what I said. Darius says it's Colts a must-win game. It's not a must-win, but would be a very nice one to win. We're finally above 500. So my opinion going forward would be that a lot of people are saying you need 11 wins to get in. I think 10 wins for sure you're in at the worst at the 7th seed. I know the standings now and there's teams ahead of us, but like the parity in the NFL is so high. Like all the teams are so good. Like, I mean, you see it week in, week out. This bad team beats this great team. And it's a pretty close league. So I think water will find its level. And I think that a 9-win team could very well get in. So that means that we could lose 2 games, potentially 3, and still get in. But as terms of like the best case scenario for us having a chance to win the division and get a home playoff game despite a 0-3, 3-5 start, yes. But if we lose, is the season over? No. Whereas, Jags game, if the Jags game was the biggest one, if we lost that game, to me, season was over. Bills game, it was pretty far up there. So I think it's starting to, the more we win, the less intense. But yeah, so that's kind of my take on that. Texans swarm, is Jimmy Ward going to start at safety when he gets back? I was talking to Aaron Wilson on his live chat earlier. He seems to think no, that it sounds like it'll be Jalen Reed, but who knows? We'll see. We'll wait till he gets back first. And then in the life of Colby, I heard the Colts are trying to hide a Daniel. I'm not sure what that means. BG, he said, I heard that Daniel Jones is injured and they're trying to keep it under the rug. Well, he had an injury going into the game against the Chiefs, right? And was like cleared. So did he play hurt or did he get hurt again? Or is it excusing him for his play? Give me some clarification on that. Golden Scholar on YouTube, also good because of that soft-ass schedule. That is very true. And then Brandon Halam says, so Sauce Gardner is amazing, but Mahomes threw for 352 yards. Great point. And so that will be part of the story too is, this team has Travarius Ward, who's missed some games, but I believe he was back and should be back against us. And now Sauce Gardner. And they have the new defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, who came from Cincinnati, who's, known as a great coordinator. They seem to be running more man. I was looking at the stats earlier. They run quite a bit of man relative to the rest of the league. Bring that shit on. If you run man against us, this is going to be a Nico Collins game. And they're probably going to try. I wonder, I'll have to look into it if they've had Sauce travel yet as a corner since he's been with the Colts. If they've had teams where they've had number one receivers, if they try to have him travel with Nico, bring that shit on. Nico will eat his lunch, dude. Like one-on-one. And Stroud's back, like, against the Niners, they ran man and blitzed because they didn't have a pass rush because of injuries and because Nico Collins was out, and Stroud threw the ball to the hot read every time and diced them up. Same thing against the Broncos. Nico was back, but the Broncos, they just do that naturally with Vance Joseph blitz and run a lot of man, and he was doing the same thing. He was dicing them up. So, I mean, this could be a big game in that sense. If the Colts do decide to go man and blitz and mix things up in that regard, it could be a big game for Stroud passing and for Nico Collins. Still tipping RG. Hey, whatever happened to Ladarius Henderson, though, that guard we had, how some people said he was going to be a crucial piece of the O-line. Yeah, that was just, some momentum stuff, but I don't even know if he's on the team anymore or not. Yeah, donkey stomped. In the life of Colby, Jags almost lost to the Cardinals last week. Yeah, dude. Lawrence had 3 picks and a fumble 6. And like, I get it. Like, a win's a win. Like, that's how, I mean, but I think Liam Cohen's a great coach. But as long as Trevor Lawrence is their quarterback, that's not like a scary team to me. Like, it's just, and it's not like me hating. It's just the truth. Like, I've been saying it. We all have been saying it. Like, the guy's gone through X amount of coordinators and head coaches and offenses. I predict, despite him having a heavy contract and a no trade clause, them trying to find a way to move off of him by mid next year, because Cohen is getting more out of him and more out of this team with him at the quarterback than what most can or have done. And, at a certain point, he's going to be like, look, bro, like, I've maximized this guy. Like, guys, like, if y'all want to really be a contender, I need a guy. So I could definitely see that happening. Golden Scholar, if Stroud comes back and continues his dominant play from the 49ers game, we went out. However, I worry the concussion could have lingering effects, but he also has been resting the last month. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm concerned about the rust, but I mean, that's where I'm like, bro, like, I'm trying to, like, tamp everything down. Like, from what I've seen from Stroud before and what I've seen recently in this new offense where he's a cerebral guy and it's all clicking, receivers on the same page. The thing about the Niners game, so I felt early on there was residual effects from last year that affected him. It shouldn't be the case, but it is. Like, he was still kind of shell-shocked, happy feet. But you also have the new offense, Kaylee. You have new weapons. You have Higgins, Knoll, Kirk, etc. Hutch playing more than what he played last year. And then you have the new offense for receivers where last year, like, hey, you run this route no matter what. Now it's like, hey, on this play, on any play, almost every play, at least one or a couple receivers have the option now, the freedom, the autonomy to, hey, if this guy's here, you can break here. Or if he does this, you can do that. And so there's been a learning curve for the receivers. And I felt like that was very what was going on early, and it was being misconstrued by a lot of people as, like, this guy would break here and Stroud would throw it there. And they're like, oh, what is Stroud doing? What a terrible throw. He's so inaccurate. Like, no, it's like a miscommunication. And then also them too, now learning how to throttle their routes and zones, stuff like that. And I feel like they finally started to do it. And because of that too, I also feel like, ironically enough, people saying that Stroud should have thrown more to Nico, that was the reason why he struggled early on, in my opinion, is because all he did was try to force it to Nico and either threw bad throws or got sacks or whatever because he got stuck on him. And then it was a blessing in disguise, in my opinion, against the Niners, where Nico was out and now they ran man and blitzed, and he truly had to trust everybody. And you had guys like Braxton Berrios lighting that shit up. Like, that's what the true offense is. Like, you don't even look for you just read the defense and you just find the open man. You're not thinking, where's Nico? You're thinking, here's the defense. I threw it. Oh, that happened to be Nico. Oh, that happened to be Kirk. Oh, that happened to be Knoll. And that's what happened in that game. And he built chemistry with Higgins. He finally started connecting with Higgins. He finally started connecting with Knoll. And, like, even though it wasn't a big sample size, like, that little stuff in that moment in the game, like, it sticks in your brain. Like, and so I felt like he really didn't trust the rookies early on. Like, I feel like Higgins early on was open a lot, and Stroud just wouldn't throw it to him, or he kind of like, unhappily force it to him, because trust with a quarterback is a real thing. Like Nico has proven, like, I trust that MFer, dude. Like, I can chunk it to him and he'll make me right. So that's what I'm excited about. But that being said, I'm trying to temper my expectations because I've seen how he's played before. I've seen how it looked against the Niners in Denver, and how he's actually spreading the ball around to all of his weapons. And, we've said average offense contender. Like, now, like, can you think if we had a top 10 offense, like if this offense does, somehow maximize its potential as far as talent, and it is a top 10 offense, like that's a scary team, bro. Like, now the offense not only complements the defense, like even more so. Like, can you imagine this defense playing with a lead, with a 2-score lead early in a game? Like, if Will and Daniil are allowed to pin their ears back, like from the jump, like the Bills was like one of the first games where teams tried to throw it deep. They didn't really throw it deep because they couldn't get it out, but like that was because we had a lead, and because they had faith in their O-line and they had Josh Allen, they actually were going to consider trying to throw it deep, and we got 8 sacks. So it's like all these other games have been like neck and neck the whole time, never really pulled away. But like, I've been saying this for years, like if we quit playing with our food and we finally give our defense a lead to play with, it could get really scary, really ugly. And that's why, like, I've never hyper focused on like, oh, they only have such and such sacks and blah, blah, blah. They're not that good. Like, no, bro, like teams don't allow us to get sacks because of the game script of like our offense not putting us in position. And also before the game starts, they come out and they get rid of the ball in like 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds or less. It's all screens. It's all, quick game running. Like, that's all they do. Like, they don't, because they know, anytime a team chooses to throw it deep, it can completely change the game. Like, we saw it in the Bills game. Every time they threw it deep or tried to, it was a pick, a fumble, or a sack. Like, something bad happened. So that gets me where I have to be like, all right, bro, chill. But like, if, and again, we'll see. Like, I'm trying not, like, maybe Stroud does struggle and maybe he does step back, or maybe he's rusty. But like, if he comes out against the Colts and lights it up, it's like, oh shit, like this thing's gonna start cranking up. But at the very least, just be average is all we need. So Brandon says Ladarius Henderson last seen on the Browns practice squad. Crazy right with Cam Robinson says still tripping. And then let's keep going through the comments. Dime says I almost left that Jags game 3 different times. So glad we stayed till the end. Yeah, I stayed too, man. That game was crazy. Texans Swarm, how far do you think the Texans can go in the playoffs if they make it? I think they can go all the way. I mean, I'm not saying they will. I think they can. Like, obviously, trying our best now just to get in or even get the division and get a home playoff game would be huge, and potentially a bye. But, I mean, defense travels. Like, with this defense, we're live in any game, bro. Brandon says, sounds like an injury affecting Daniel Jones' scrambling skills, but they could be lying. Well, yeah, I mean, they're going to be screwed either way. And so Sauce is overrated. He's been getting exposed since he's been with the Colts. Did they just drop some news on Jones, or were y'all just talking about it in the chat? Good night, Dime. A lot of Jones hurt stuff. Has some tweet just come out? Let's see. So I don't know. I need to go break some news on Twitter if they just said it. And so let me go over to IG, Trust Way. We can go as far as our defense will take us and as far as our offense will allow us. That's a great way to put it. I agree 100%. Someone said any news on JP. I don't know who you mean, Jalen Petrie. So Aaron Wilson says he suspects that, we're hoping, Stroud and Petrie will get cleared tomorrow, but he thinks it may be even another day potentially just because of the technicality of consecutive days of practice might be the protocol. And so, just don't freak out when it's not announced tomorrow that Stroud and or Petrie's back. Like, he says they should be back. I don't see why they wouldn't. They practiced last week. The problem was that wasn't like a real practice. It was a walkthrough. So, and so did a tweet just break on that? Is that like breaking news, or is this something that we're just talking about in the chat as far as Daniel Jones? And so let's just buzz through and put a bow on this. I know, like we always do, we kind of hop all over the place. So appreciate you guys following my scatterbrain here. But let's check out, just try and put a bow on the Bills game here. We'll go through PFF real quick. Again, take it for what it is as far as the grades go. Not the end all be all, but it's worth looking to check. So we'll look at the Texans offense. Ed Ingram balled out, checks out for me on tape. Trent Brown. So Ed Ingram, 84.3. Trent Brown, 82.4. Holy shit. And so Trent Brown, 82.4. What a wild card. None of us, I mean, at least me, when we signed him, I had hopes initially, and then he was hurt. I'm like, man, like he may not, if he produces, if he's a backup, cool. Like that's an impact signing right there. Holy cow. Blake Fisher graded well, 76.3. Nico Collins, 71.2. Kirk, 70.5. Best game as a Texan. Mills, 66.8. So good, not great. I mean, I'll take that. Woody Mark, 65.6. Feels like it kind of checks out to me personally. Higgins, 63.7. Feels like it kind of checks out to me personally. Chubb, 63. Dare, 62. Love you, Dare, but we got to stop putting you in on the goal line on second down and third down and saying, hey, guys, we're going to pass the ball. Dare's in. Like, K-League, just have one play where you put them in, just run the ball one time. Just if you want to keep putting them in, just so they don't know, it's like the biggest tell anyone can tell you, hey, that guy's in, they're going to pass. And you get in these third and shorts where you want to have this ambiguity where, hey, they don't know if it's run or pass. And you're saying, nope, we're going to pass it. Ursary, 59.3. He's had an up and down season. He's shown some flashes and some promise. Last game, not great. This game, not great. Jaguars game, pretty good. But the ball was out quick. So he was getting beat or pressured, and it didn't really have much of an impact. Hutch, decent game, 58.4. Howard, 54.9. I'll have to look at that, but regardless, probably better at left guard than what we would have got, or right guard or it says right guard. He was left guard than what we would have gotten. Andrews, 51.4, kind of checks out. Knoll, 51.4. I mean, his reverse, I feel like he didn't run it that great. I don't know about the rest. Schultz, 51. Jakob Johnson, 38.2. That's a couple bad games by him. We can't have that, bro. Like, we need a fullback. Cade Stover played bad. Second game back. First game back, gave him a pass, limited snaps, but he seemed like he wasn't himself. This game had 20 total snaps, 27.5 grade, had 2 drops, and also wasn't quite blocking. So we need him to get back to what we had him at, because the way he was playing was really well and very big for our offense. And then you have on defense, Kalen Bullock. Kalen Bullock is a star. I personally think he is on a all-pro trajectory this year. He's had an up and down year, yes, especially early in the year, slow starts. I think some of that was him getting blamed for plays that was kind of on CJ Gardner-Johnson at times, kind of miscommunicating or, blowing his assignment. But as of late, he has been balling, bro. Like, obviously the turnovers help, but like even aside from that, but 2 picks, one was off a tip, off of Aziz. One was late in the game, last play of the game. They threw it to him, forced a fumble. But that return, dude, was sick. Like, that was a touchdown, blocking the back. The guy kind of like backs into Barnett. And then Josh Allen on that same play hits our guy in the back late after the guy crosses the end zone because he's mad because he threw a pick 6 and doesn't get penalized for that. So, I mean, Lassiter balled out at an 80.3. Henry To'oTo'o had a good game, 72.1. And his coverage not bad, 65.2. Jalen Reed played pretty well, 70.3. Tommy Togiai, been a stud, underrated still, 70.1. Sheldon Rankin, solid, 67.8. Autry, 64. Settle, 64. He had a pretty good game, so maybe a little discrepancy there. This is kind of crazy. Yeah. And so, did I say, Will's at the top. Daniil Hunter, 63.5. I don't know. Aziz, 58.9. I don't know. Miles Bryant played 49 snaps, 57. Stingley. PFF hates Stingley, dude. PFF. I don't know if I'm saying someone's laughing at the comment, but like the guy literally like backed into Barnett. Like, I mean, he hit him in the back, but the guy like baited him into it. It's kind of bullshit. But PFF hates Derek Stingley. Like, he is much better than what they grade him. And I've seen personally on film with a lot of plays that the public thinks is his fault. It's not his fault. It's more often than not when you see him getting beat, it's because he's passing off his zone coverage to somebody else and the other guy doesn't do it and they think it's him getting burnt. 52.1. I don't see that. He was only targeted twice. No catches. Like, I'm okay. EJ Speed 50. I think he did not play his best game from what I've seen so far. He was kind of over aggressive on some runs and kind of got beat on some play actions, but he's still a great player and has been playing well for us. And so that pretty much wraps it up on PFF. And then we can kind of go through. I'll just go to like ESPN like we normally do and kind of go through the stats and box score generically. Yeah, Barnett should get benched next time. Is that Engineer? Or did you change your name to Golden Scholar on YouTube? It feels like it's Engineer. And then Hennessy down blocked by Brown are life-changing. LOL, so much movement. Yeah, dude. Trent Brown's a beast, bro. He's just at the very least, he just eats up space. So Jones was said that he has a femur injury. This is coming down from the grapevine, says Brandon. Sounds like they're making excuses, bro. Steichen's kind of getting scared. Are we going to see Anthony Richardson? Is he still on the team? And then Brandon says all the other starters going out, another rookie besides him also gives Bullock the opportunity to step up and own the leadership role at that part of the field. Yeah, and so D'Amico was asked about that, and he was saying that normally at free safety, any safety, that he likes a veteran that can communicate, and that he said, like, well, Kalen's doing good, so, like, why can't Kalen do it? And he's, ahead of the curve in that part too. So, I mean, yeah, it's up, dude. Engineer is Golden Scholar. They just changed my display names. I like it. So I take it you are a smart guy. Engineer, Golden Scholar. I might have to advise you on some stuff down the road if I ever need help. But yeah, so let's go to the scores. NFL, Texans, and we'll go to the Bills game. Go to team stats. First downs, 14-15. Third down, they were 5 of 16. The Texans were 2 of 12 on third down. That's terrible. Fourth down, they were 3 of 5. We were 1 of 1. The one drive they had where they drove the field, they got lucky on a ineligible man downfield that was called and got picked up because the guy did get back behind the 1 yard barrier. They went for a 4th and 1 on their own 20 on the first drive of the game and got it. And Allen almost fumbled the ball. And then, dink and dunk, they get down to another 3rd and short or another 4th down. And that's when Cook broke that run. And D'Amico Ryans said with Mark Vandermeer and John Harris that on that play, they were expecting sneak. And if you look at it, all the tackles condensed in, and then Cook hit the outside with the pulling guard or tackle right in front of him. And it was pretty much wide open spaces. Shout out to Dixie Chicks on that one. But yeah, so there was wide open spaces. And also on that play, EJ Speed was held. And so that's their 1 touchdown drive, like 2 4th down conversions, a hold, and we sold out for the sneak. Excuses, I know. I'm just adding context. But just going down the line here, total yards, they had 326. We had 261. I mean, that checks out. Like, we played a conservative, just lean on the defense game. So offense was not impressive at all, really. I mean, it was impressive those couple drives before half. But passing, we held, Josh Allen, the best passing offense in the league, to 183 yards. We had 153. Rushing, they had 143. A lot of them on that one big James Cook play. We had 108. Red zone, they were 0 for 2. That was huge. Obviously, one was at the end of the game. I think both of their red zones was because they went for it on 4th down because of the game script. And we were 2 for 4. So good, but still needs to be better. Penalties, 6 for them, 5 for us. Time of possession, they had 32. We had 27. So this box score real quick. Josh Allen, 24 of 34, 253, 2 interceptions, 8 sacks for 70 yards and a 67.4 rating. Mills, 16 of 30. So he was 50% completion percentage for 153, 2 touchdowns, and a 90 rating. So that is good for a backup given the game plan, but that's not, if this was Stroud, he would be getting shit on to death. But it's Mills. Oh, he's really good. He managed that game. That's Kaylee's fault. Come on, bro. What are we doing? He's a really, really good backup, what I've always said. And he did his job. And I say save us, Dave us, Mills. He saved us. He saved the season multiple times. Forever grateful. And he is worth every penny. James Cook, 17 for 116 with a 45-yard run in there. So, I mean, again, on a play that we thought was a QB sneak. Josh Allen, we held him in check rushing 5 for 20 because Aziz spied him. Woody Marks had a good game. He was 16 for 74. Hard-earned yards. Nick Chubb, 6 for 16, not great. Hutch had that one. Another reverse pass by a receiver is that didn't go its way, and we scrambled and ran it and almost scored. Diggs did it last year against the Jags and scored. So that was pretty cool. I mean, I don't really love that play call, but hey, it worked out. Nico Collins, 3 for 55 on 3 targets, throwing the ball more. Wow, Mills, why don't you throw the ball? Christian Kirk game, dude, 5 for 54 with a touchdown. Had obviously a touchdown, but a good catch and run before half on a slant where Mills got to him backside, like third, fourth read, hit him in stride, and a nice catch and run. And on that play too, in the stadium, I was like, why didn't they call a timeout there? Why didn't he get out of bounds? He got pushed 1 yard inbounds and then went out of bounds, and we thought he was out and he wasn't. So it was kind of a deal there. Again, I still kind of skeptical of that clock management there, but Kirk, I mean, it's good to see him play well. I mean, that's pretty much it. There wasn't a lot of production, receiving wise. Khalil Shakir was their best receiver, 8 for 110. But I mean, you let them have the underneath stuff with Shakir and you shut down the rest. I mean, after that, Ty Johnson was their second leading receiver with 3 catches and 45 yards. And then after that, it's just nothing, dude. So, Jalen Reed led the team in tackles, 12 tackles with 9 solo. The next highest was Aziz with 7. So, I mean, that's pretty damn good and he had a fumble recovery. So, I think that pretty much puts a bow on that. We can go through my X real quick like we normally do and maybe find some interviews. You know what? Let's do the Colts first. I don't know. We'll go to the profile and play some clips that are relevant. Give me a chance to drink some water and, prevent any cotton mouth because I'm really like, I try to give y'all as much information or opinions as possible, as quick as possible without leaving dead air because, obviously if you miss this, you can re-listen on YouTube under live, but also on Spotify or Apple. So I am cognizant of that. Like I'm also like a podcast listener. Really not much anymore because all I do is consume Texan stuff all day. But yeah, so I'm just scrolling down the timeline for a minute, kind of BSing while I get to, I love breaking down the all 22, man. And, my personality is like, I want to show like every play, every clip. And so sometimes it gets the best of me. So I need some catching up to do. I'm hoping to get to some of that tomorrow. We'll see how it goes, but I'm really eager to get into the second half to kind of see what happened with the offense. But I'm continuing to scroll, kind of just BSing while we go. And then shout out MH Hard Handle on YouTube. Colby says maybe Kelly spiced up the playbook because it was CJ instead of giving him the basics like he did for Davis, or just let CJ cook. Dude, so what I noticed in the first half, Kaylee was calling a hell of a fucking game, dude. Like, he was mixing up looks. Like, what I noticed is, I mean, I will say this, like, the designs were good, but me as a fan in the stands, I was frustrated from the sense that, to me, it was simple. Like, you want to be this smash mouth, run between the tackles team, and you're playing a defense that's 31st in rush yards per game and like number 1 in pass yards per game. So it's pretty simple. Like, just run the fucking ball. And early on, we ran the freaking ball and it worked like a charm. Like, we were having like 8 yards a pop. And then we get down the red zone, start throwing the ball. Like, bro, like, keep running the ball, even if it gets stuffed once. Like, so like that was what's frustrating is like, normally when you need a pass, you run. This felt like Slowick. And then when you need a run, you pass. Like, but I can't really dive too much into that. Let's see. I'm still scrolling here. And so that was, but okay. So despite that, like, it's just simple logic. Like, all right, they suck at running. They're good at passing. We want to run. Let's run. The run's working. Keep running the ball. but there was some creativity where we're in heavy personnel. I saw, dude, we had, so normally we've been running heavy personnel via Blake Fisher as your third tight end or tackle. We started seeing it now with 22 personnel. So 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, 1 receiver. And that was with your other running back being Jakob Johnson. And you had Jakob Johnson, Cade Stover, and Dalton Schultz. You have 3 basically tight ends essentially. So that could be 13 personnel too, if you consider Jakob Johnson a back or a tight end, depending on where he's lined up. Sometimes he'd be at fullback in the wing or I formation, or sometimes he'd be as a tight end. So it's like another way of, instead of doing Blake Fisher. But now that Jakob's back, now that Stover's back, and then now you've been using Blake Fisher, like we have some variety at our hands as far as these heavy run packages, but we were getting into those. And I think it probably was the autonomy for Mills being allowed to check, but they would get into those and run man and blitz to try and run blitz and stop the run. And then we would get one-on-ones with Nico or whoever else and hit those. So that was where we saw in the red zone where we had back-to-back missed passes, not back-to-back, but a missed one-on-one to Higgins that should have been a touchdown where he was wildly underthrown. And then, a play or two later, Schultz on the seam, wide open, wildly underthrown. But those were both out of like heavy run formations, get man, boom, pass. And I will say on those plays, a gripe I have is the receivers, Ben McDaniels, man, like I question like what's going on in the room. Like, is he telling them these things? Are they not doing it? But like, we are one of the worst teams at trying to draw pass interferences. And it happened on back-to-back plays on that Higgins and Schultz play. 2 not good balls underthrown by Mills. But as a receiver on those go balls, when you see the ball is wildly underthrown, you now need to change from I'm going to try and catch that to I'm playing to get a penalty. And if you do it the right way, it's like an automatic penalty, bro. Like if you go from trying to like, shy away from the defender and not make contact to where like I'm just going to stop and run into him and not try and catch the ball and pretend like it and let him run me over, you will get the flag every time. Like Higgins and Schultz both could have gotten PIs and they didn't. And that's happened all year. Like I have not seen us do that once. Like some teams, that's their whole offense. Like, hey, I'm going to chunk it up, underthrow it, just draw a flag. And they're great at it. That's like the Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, hey, I'm going to chunk it up, just come back to the ball and draw a flag. Like they need to work on that drill. Like just sit there and just work on that. Like, hey, I'm going to start throwing some go balls. If it goes over your shoulder, catch it. But I'm going to mix in some ones that are underthrown. If it's underthrown, realize it's underthrown first and then just run into the defender. And then also, too, something that drives me crazy is, receivers, when you're a receiver and a guy is guarding you and he's in man coverage, which you can tell easily. If you're a receiver and a guy's guarding you in man coverage, he's inside leverage and his eyes are on you. Like, okay, the guy's in fucking man coverage. And it's a run play and you realize he's in man. Would you rather try and block him for 6 seconds at the line of scrimmage? Or would you rather just pretend to run a vertical route and he's in man so you know that he's going to chase you and let the guy just run himself out of the play? We don't do that, and it kills us, especially on these bubble screens or on the reverse to null. Nico chooses to try to block the guy. He kind of like jogs up and like mirrors him and then doesn't block him, and the guy makes the play. If he were to run him down the field, it's like a huge game, potentially a touchdown. It's like little things that you can do to help yourself that we're not doing. Like I learned that in high school, bro. Like, and when I figured that out, I was like, dude, this is a cheat code. Like I would much rather jog downfield. And that makes a huge difference. So that drives me crazy. So there's 2 things I've noticed with the receiving room that kind of drives me crazy there that needs to be addressed. And yeah, we'll kind of go through. I think we're kind of getting to some of the interviews. We're getting there. There was a lot. I know it's late from the game. It was on Thursday, and we don't want to kind of live in the past. But hey, it was a big win. So I will say this is pretty funny here. Let's see. Let me share this tab instead. The Davis Mills, Peyton Manning neck picture is pretty funny. But yeah, so for me, it's nice for the public to see like what I've been seeing and saying is like this team is what it like. This defense has been the same to me the whole time. Like, just because they got 8 sacks doesn't mean they've been doing the same shit. It's just game script. So like, this has been my logic. Like, I've known this is who we are. And so I'm glad that other people now see the vision, like, oh shit, like this defense is elite. Like, they don't need to do much. Like, yeah, we've been saying this shit, you know? So it's nice to kind of get the praise in that regard. So almost done. I'm scrolling down to the bottom. We'll work our way up. We obviously won't look at all this stuff, but I want to make sure we get some good clips that y'all guys might find. Oh, here's my Will Anderson Jr. Terminator shirt. If you want to enter the contest, it's pinned on my profile. I'm going to give it away in the next couple days. Yeah, keep scrolling down. We're almost there. Almost there. Man, I've been posting a lot since that game, bro. But hey, you know, it feels good that we got the dub. So, I mean, that's a lot of content. A lot of content. All right. So, let's see. Almost done. Trying to find what's good. This is terrible for people that are anyone watching, really. But yeah, so Brandon says tag the wide receiver coach in a post. No, I don't do that. Still tripping. How do y'all feel about the Damian Clark signing? I don't know. And then yeah, Damian Pierce got cut, which why didn't we trade him? It comes out that there was trade interest by the Eagles. Howie Roseman before the trade deadline, and you don't trade him. Asked Aaron Wilson about it. He said it's likely because of depth. What depth? We didn't need him for depth. Trade him. Get a 6th or a 7th. Should have traded him in the spring for, you know, the best haul you could have got. You knew you weren't going to play him. So that was a Nick Caserio L in my opinion. So, but yeah, so let's see here. Maybe some of this stuff I'll just read, but again, I hate to kind of like go back and be a revisionist now, but man, there's been a lot of pub on the Texans. This is nice. Almost to a point to where I can kind of like see. Yeah, that 4th down, Josh Allen had a guy open, but it was also an offensive pass interference, so it was a pick play. Here is the run by James Cook. If you look, I don't want it to have any audio on it, so I don't think it does. But if you look at it, look, they're all selling out for the QB sneak right here, and so they call a run play. I don't know if it was an audible, but you know they got a pulling H back. I think it was a counter, and he's got a hole. And look at this. EJ Speed's getting held up here by Dawkins. Look at that. Getting held, and they're all selling out for yeah, that was like half their rushing offense, and they're only touchdowns. So Stroud was on the sidelines hyping the boys up. Almost to the top where I can start to, man, it's just so much stuff from this game. I may have to just skip a lot of this and go into the Colts. I know y'all have already probably seen most of this stuff, but you know, this is where like being prepared might be nice, where I can like have stuff bookmarked and have like a actual, you know, regimented show, but I don't have time for that, and I find it's better just to kind of roll with this. So we'll listen to this.
Today we got Will. Yeah. And our representative for the O-line, I forgot the O-line. Oh yeah, Trent. There you go, baby. Hey guys, we talked about we going on a hunt. All right, and this one guy, he hunted all night. Right, we talked about Dino did an outstanding job talking about how we need to take the ball and how that changed the game. We got a guy right now who took it away 3 times. 3 times, all right? Man, best game I see. Kalen, come on down. Outstanding job, bro. Outstanding job. Hey, man, we were +3 in the turnover battle. You took 3, man. It doesn't get any better than that. Way to show up, way to show out, way to show the world what the Houston Texans football is all about. Yeah. All right? Davis, again, outstanding job of leading us, man. Outstanding job of leading us. Hey, love you boys, man. Love you guys. Way to work, man. Now, get it free. Get time to rest a little bit. I'll see you guys on Monday.
Love a good victory speech. Let me check the chat real quick. He says, I don't understand why the offense isn't more explosive? You have Nico, Higgins, Noel, Hutchinson, Schultz, and Kirk. How is it not more explosive? Because our run game sucks and teams run too high and they double Nico and they force you to dink and dunk. And, we haven't consistently, methodically moved the ball to get them out of that and then take advantage when they do get out of it. So they just got to be better at the death by 1,000 cuts. Brandon says Pierce thing was weird, was not hopped onto him for 2 more weeks so the Chiefs didn't pick him up. And then that's a good point too. Brandon says Trent Brown definitely seems like the kind of O-lineman D'Amico would want, a trench bully. Yeah, dude, I think he's a great fit. So I don't talk a lot of crap on X, but like people throughout the week will chirp me unprovoked and I'll kind of bookmark. And then if we win, I'll respond. But, I don't like to like be the one like, oh, we're going to beat y'all, this and that. Like, because I hate, getting dunked on myself, but I had my fun there. But let me see if there was anything else for. But yeah, Davis Mills, he says when you have a defense like that, you run every game. So like everything that I heard from him and from coaches, like it screamed like, hey, like don't lose this game. Like, understand what you have. And he did a great job of that. And here's Will. This is let's see.
It is, and your body just take over, your instincts just take over, and you just play out your mind. And I just think that's what type of day it was, man. Just the preparation all week, coach being on us, man, preparing us, and just going out here playing free and playing fast.
So his body took over in the game. Kalen Bullock got some love from Richard Sherman. And let's see here. Kind of going through still. I mean, Will Anderson Jr. almost had a pick to end the game as well. Like, I mean, he's starting to get the full package, dude. He also had a play where he is using Daniil Hunter's move there, like the little awkward hesitation move. So, I mean, he's really expanding his game. And I love this answer from Davis Mills after the game. He's a pro's pro, which regardless if you think he's better or should start or not, like this is a commendable, respectable answer.
Wins for you. I'm just kind of curious, do you view yourself as solely the backup to CJ here, or is this still kind of an open audition for you by any kind of measure?
I mean, in my current situation, I don't think there's a competition. I mean, CJ's the starter for this team. I'm just doing everything I can to bring my best foot forward every day, make everyone else around me better, and try to, provide and play my role to my best ability when I get thrown in there.
Last one, Cam.
Also, while I'm going through this little Thanksgiving fun, let me know if you are a pecan or a pumpkin pie guy. And also, just another question is, I pronounce it pecan, and do you pronounce it pecan? I know some people call it pecan or pecan pie, but let me know what your thoughts are on that, pecan or pumpkin pie, and then I'll give you my thoughts here in a bit. And then this was D'Amico after the game about Stroud.
Pregame, do you have any notes on his future availability? And I guess, is he the starter when he is healthy ultimately?
Ooh, look at you trying to come with that question. All right, at the end, just dropping the. We'll see what happens. Now, CJ, it was great to see him back out there. He was back at practice. Just to see him back around the guys with a huge smile on his face, him feeling well. That's the most important thing when our guys are in the concussion protocol. I just want to make sure they're healthy and they're well. So that's the one thing I'm most happy to see, that he's well, he's himself. Get back to football.
So a couple things there. He notates that Stroud was back and happy and smiling, like that previous post-game speech we just showed. Like people are sharing screenshots of him just like sitting there looking at D'Amico like, oh, he looks like he's mad or upset. Like I just watched that too, like knowing that people said that, like of all the 20 faces you saw, about half of them you could screenshot and make them look like they're upset. So it's just, I don't know why he gets treated the way he does, but it kind of concerns me. Like he sees and hears this stuff, and it's gonna you're gonna wear the guy out, dude. So, but yeah, and then like on the D'Amico thing, like he didn't directly say Stroud's back and he will start next week in that immediate post game presser. But I mean, it seems like he was irritated by the question, and he kind of like made a sarcastic thing, like yeah, duh, like there's no, or he said we'll see, like joking, like ha, like this is dumb. No, but again, there's room for speculation, but we'll get to it here in a minute. But he talked about it today as well. or yesterday. So, but yeah, so here's D'Amico on Jalen Reed.
Exactly where they're supposed to be. And I'm just proud of the guys. I mean, Miles came in, did a great job. Jalen Reed, first time he saw a lot of action for us. I thought his first game playing a lot. I thought he stepped up and played big for us as well. So just different guys stepping in. They know, what's at stake, and they know it's just about doing your job and doing it with as much relentless effort as you can possibly do it. And that's how you play great defense.
Love it. And yeah, thanks, Golden Scholar. That is the correct way to say it. Pecan pie, not pecan. And shout out Jay Huva07 on YouTube, says, love your lives. I appreciate that. And here's the play I was talking about. Like, this looks like to me that it looks like to me Josh Allen. I mean, that's a cheap shot, bro. Like, look at that. Kamari's back is to him. He's crossing the goal line, and Josh Allen just runs into the guy, not even in the play. Like, what is that crap, dude? Like, that's a fucking flag, dude. Like, the hypocrisy of the league protecting offense and not defense is like it's crazy, dude. Here was an awesome answer by Will on the post-game set with NFL Prime.
In this game right now, what is that part of your game that you feel like you've grown the most?
Yeah, I think for me it was just my rush. Like, how much better, how much can I execute at the top of my rush? And that was kind of slowing me down a little bit, man. Is even with my bull kind of getting stuck on the edge a little bit and not being able to turn the corner. And this offseason, me and D'Amico had a really good conversation. Me and my D-line coach had a really good conversation. Like, I remember I came up all fired up at OTAs, and he was like, calm down. It's one thing I want you to get better, and that's using your hands at the top of the rush. And I love football. I think football, the greatest thing about football is when you present it with a challenge, how can you overcome that challenge? And then when you see it come to life of you overcoming that challenge, that's what makes the game so great. So to see that come to life, it just means everything to me.
I love that. It's getting scary for Will, dude. Like, he's being challenged to like work on things, and like he's being told to do things, and it's very hard to do. And like, it's starting to like, he's seeing it happen. And so like, he's seeing like, I can get even better. Like, this is scary. Like, now him realizing this, like, dude, like the level, his ceiling is, it's really high. Shout out James Chatham on Facebook. He says, who do you think the starting line will be going forward? I think this, and I asked Aaron Wilson earlier, and it makes sense. It'll be the same one that we had last game. And then Golden Scholar, Josh Allen was flopping every sack. Him and Mahomes are the worst superstar QBs. Yeah, and then every flag, he's like, oh, where's the flag? And then it's like, oh, nope, it's on you guys. And they expect to get the treatment. And then he talks about Tank Dell. I mean, Aaron said next year, I think it makes sense too for Tank. I'm sure he'll try to get back, but I mean, it's a gruesome injury. And then I have no idea on Joe Mixon what exactly happened, but it's an odd situation. But hopefully, I'm still have a small sliver of hope that maybe he finds his way back. And then, yeah, so getting love from Shannon Sharp, Ocho Cinco, like they're all starting to see like, yeah, it's a good defense. Like, yeah, we know, dude. Like, we've been saying this. And then let's see. Danielle Hunter had 2 sacks and 6 tackles. And we had Deion Dawkins was asked after the game about if the team was more physical, and he kind of skirts the question.
It's a game of inches. At the end of the game.
Anyways, he was asked if they were more physical, and he's like, oh, it's a game of inches. Like, we almost won. Like, rather than saying, like, no, we got freaking dominated, bro. Like, him and Spencer Brown, 2 of the best tackles in the league, got worked, bro. And then here's Danielle Hunter after the game.
Man, that motor, he got that motor and he got that mind. And he has that will in him. He has that dog in him. So, if anything's happening on the field, you can count on Will. He's coming to halt the quarterback down.
That's crazy respect and praise from a veteran like Danielle Hunter. And that's funny that Will has that will in him. That makes sense. Yeah, that's my hope, James, that somehow Mixon comes back for the playoffs. You never know. It's just a weird situation, but I know Ian Rappaport said he was out for the year, and then Mixon quote tweeted him and saying like, oh, that's crazy. You know more about me than me. But hey, we'll see what happens. Brandon, seeing Myles Garrett's run this year also makes you realize how long it can take for a Deion stellar season and how far along in the future the best year of a career can be. That is true, dude. There's levels to it. It's a lot of technicalities and stuff too, real technical. That is true that you may never know when his best year will be. And then here is Amazon Prime after the game talking about Derek Stingley Jr.
The story of the night was the Texans pass rush with 8 sacks. But you can't do that without a great back-end play. And they had 2 superstars in their defensive backfield. The first, Kalen Bullock, 2 targets, 2 interceptions. But the real feature is Derek Stingley Jr. He had 2 targets and 0 catches allowed. That's his 4th game.
But PFF grade him like in the 40s or 50s. Get out of here.
Last year's Defensive Player of the Year was Patrick Surtain, and he had 5 games. Stingley, quietly, you don't hear his name a lot during a broadcast. That's for good reason. Offenses avoid him. He's quietly having a Defensive Player of the Year type year.
It's the same thing with like Will and Daniil. Like games they don't get sacks, like doesn't mean they're not doing anything. It's because they're not getting the chance. It's like Stingley. He's not getting picks or PBUs because they don't give him a chance. The same thing. So kind of moving along, trying to get this done. I know it's getting late. I want to kind of get through this and dive in a little bit on the Colts. Here's Davis Mills, chill guy.
Is Dave? Are you always this calm? Like you're so like here.
Usually, yes.
Davis chills.
Yeah, you're
Davis chills, baby.
Joke like your wife was like, "Hey, fight with me a little bit," right? You're calm and steady, and what a difference that makes for you for out there. It doesn't look like at the moment's ever too big for you.
No, yeah, I think I've been like that since I've been a kid. I'm just out there doing my job, letting everything handle itself, not worrying about things I can't control.
So are you happy that you
laughing.
won? You're
Of
happy
course,
that,
of course, yeah. There's gonna be some celebration.
You happy you won?
I've never seen him like riled up or anything like that. Like he's always even keel, and I think that's what makes him great. And he has so much confidence, and I think that's what allows him to go out there and ball.
Before I let you guys
Awesome.
go and enjoy.
Yeah, so getting more love nationally. Just going through, seeing what else is good to watch here. There's more Will. Mills talking about the Texans defense, how good they are. Obviously, he's been playing against them, so he knows. And then he also talked about what I said earlier. Higgins was open because they doubled Nico. Like that's what I suspected had happened, and it's what happened. And then, D'Amico on Davis Mills. I'll play this real quick.
Stay calm and collected and really lead when you guys needed him to lead.
Yeah, Davis has been, he's been phenomenal for us these past couple of weeks, coming in, especially on a short week, not getting a ton of full speed reps, that timing of throwing the football that's affected a little bit. And I thought he weathered the storm and he handled himself well. Even though we had some passes there we would like to connect on, he still stayed steady, still stayed calm as he always does, keeping everybody else calm, on the sideline. And did a great job there in the 2-minute drive before the half. I thought that was outstanding drive by him. When it counted, making the plays, driving us down.
Shout out Davis Chills, General Mills. Kalen Bullock, dude. He's a star.
Damian Woody.
Star in the making.
A moment ago, look, if this Houston team keeps winning, no one's going to want to see them down the stretch because of you guys on defense. How do you best describe the confidence that's growing within your room as you guys continue to win football games?
Every guy on our defense, we just got the mindset we're going to be the best every single day. We step out there on that field. We know we got some bad guys on our team to our left in front of us, and our D-line know that we're going to do our job in the back end. So it's just all of us, we going out there and we trust each other. When we trust each other, we're the best defense in the NFL.
And so he's just getting his confidence going too, bro. Like that's a scary sight. Engineer said Davis Mills' middle name is Compton. Are you serious? That's crazy. That's hilarious. And then Will Anderson Jr. Let's see, he was on Sports Radio 610. And so, he said that D'Amico, well, I guess we'll get to that later. That point there in another clip. Stephen A. Smith, he's made a couple points this week, but he basically said, I'm just looking at what happened with Josh Allen last night, and I'm saying to myself, who can't Houston do that to? Facts. And then here's Will talking about via Aaron Wilson's video on Twitter about D'Amico.
Oh, most definitely. And Coach put up a picture of like some wolves in a buffalo, and we just had that energy all week long. Man, we got to go hunt. It got to be relentless. No matter what you got going on, no matter how you feeling, bro, there's no weak links out there on the field. If you want a piece of the gazelle, you got to go hunt for the gazelle. So, it's just funny, man, seeing everybody scrap for the gazelle, man, but it's fun. It was awesome.
Well, and that sack.
That's crazy, dude. Definitely. I love it. I love the hunt talk, dude. And then he said, we're going to hunt. He said next week the hunt is for the Colts. Josh Allen after the game on the Texans defense.
It's a good unit. It's a really, statistically they're think they're the tops in basically everything that you can be the tops in, and they showed that tonight. You know, it's a really good football team.
Decent praise. Decent praise. You know, I think he feels like he could have played better, and he actually played pretty bad, despite all the circumstances. So here's Kalen Bullock. I guess I posted this video twice. I'm an idiot.
Hey, them guys up there, we got the best D-line in the world. Them guys, they come in every single day and they work their butts off. In practice, walk through, they just attention with everything they do. Every single last one of them. Them guys went out there and they play ball. They got to the quarterback. We knew they was gonna get to him, and them guys just trust us in the back end and be sticky. They was getting to him and made him make that bad decision at the end, threw the ball right to me.
It was crazy. Like in the game pick, like made him make that bad decision at the end, threw the rock right to me. It was crazy. But yeah, so just kind of going through, find some more stuff. We talked about the Pierce news. And then, yeah, there was a video of Danielle Hunter, you know, where he switched his grip on the sack on where he was tackling Josh Allen mid-sack pause, and it seemingly did it to prevent injury. So, like, you know, Texans defense gets called for being dirty and this and that, and we got guys doing stuff like that. Like, come on, bro. And then just kind of going through, will be a lot of film up here. Here's Nick Caley. You know, he seems to be a fan of Christian Kirk. Here he is again. Dapping up CK after the touchdown. Here's Sean McDermott the next day after the game.
Josh is sore. Josh Allen is sore, but we expect him to be fine as well. And then
Josh is sore. Yeah, I got a Twitch. Looks like a bot's there on Twitch in the chat. But if y'all want to follow my Twitch, it's on Houston Stressans or Texans Commentary. I'm not sure if you guys are Twitch guys or not. But yeah, so kind of going through. There's still plenty to get to. I'm trying to get to all the let's see. But yeah, Tim Settle basically says like the first time a team tried to drop back and pass. And then, yeah, Davis Mills again said the Bills defense tried to keep it top on everything. Basically, they doubled Nico again. You know, I've been preaching that. And then Davis Mills on the O-line. Here he is right here.
Taking 0 sacks, I can assure you that my body feels drastically better than it has in some other games and in my football playing history. Those guys did a hell of a job tonight protecting, and I was able to find people open or get the ball out if I needed to early on. But yeah, I mean, I think our offensive line has shown to get better each and every week. And I mean, I think those guys are going to keep progressing as we keep going forward.
Yeah, so it was a multifaceted approach. I mean, Mills played a big part in that, getting the ball out. O-line played better, new personnel, and play calling. And then, yeah, this play was definitely a hit on a defenseless receiver on Nico. He gets hit in the helmet, and it's just he's defenseless. But, you know, they don't call it. Nico still bounces off of it. That guy gets to run into the stick there, Cole Bishop, who's a good player. And, yeah, so on we go. If you want, check my timeline. Got a lot of all 22 on there. Give you my analysis. Hopefully can kind of, you know, teach you guys some stuff if you want to learn a little bit. Kind of share what I've learned and know over the years. And so going back through, yeah, the Caleb Williams did that same thing where he tried to run out of bounds and then tried to bait a hit and got popped by Jalen Ramsey. I made a post about it, you know, because that's what he did to Aziz, and it started a brawl, and Bears fans are all up in arms about it. Let's see there. So, but yeah, Colts, I mean, they're getting touted as like the best offense in the last decade. They got shut down by the Chiefs. We can go to the box score in a second here. Trevor Lawrence had a crazy game, that 3 picks, and, you know, they still won. Good for them. Going back through, I think in the standings, we're back up to, I think we're 8th now because of the Niners winning. So our strength of victory went over the Steelers. And then we're no longer going to be in the top as far as fewest points allowed because the Rams shut down a backup in Teddy Bridgewater, and our special teams blew it again for us. So we're a few points behind the Rams. And Chip Kelly got fired. I was surprised by that. I mean, not by the firing, but I was surprised by him sucking to an extent. But I mean, you know, maybe I was wrong about wanting him to be here, but maybe it was personnel, terrible O-line, Geno, no weapons on offense besides Brock Bowers. Maybe the concerns about him being an asshole was true. We'll find out. But, you know, I still thought he might have been a good fit here for the spread elements and for the chemistry with Ryan Day. Here is Kalen Bullock and Kamari Lassiter talking about D'Amico Ryans on Amazon Prime.
Talk to me about D'Amico Ryans and the impact that he's had on you guys.
Miko, it's easy to play for him because, for one, he's defensive minded. He be trying to hold back his savage. I be seeing him trying to hold back that savage. I be like, oh yeah. I watch his highlights from back in the day. I'm like, oh yeah, you was a savage. Like, you know. So I just like, it's so easy whenever he says something and like I see him like talking about something in defense. You can see how passionate he is. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I want to go play.
Been doing it all week. You don't see it today. Show up for it big time. All right. Go hunt, baby. Take that ball.
He always tells us like,
talk to me about D'Amico.
Go hunt, baby. Yeah, you got that savage. That's cool. They got respect for him. Like, you can tell they respect him. And then via Texans YouTube, I clipped this up. They were watching Hawk and Locke were watching highlights of D'Amico in college. This is pretty funny.
was you already ball coach?
I'm sure. I'm tweaking.
He had a bald head in college. He was on his Leonard Fournette. Yeah, bro. Hey, come on with a body part. He's in the seat. Was you already?
That's hilarious. He was on his Leonard Fournette. Hawk and Locke are the best, man. So, and then here's yesterday when D'Amico was asked about Stroud starting.
Hey, D'Amico, will CJ start this week?
Yeah, so for us right now, CJ and Jalen are still in the concussion protocol. So whenever CJ is back ready to roll, he's been our starter. He will be our starter whenever he's back ready to go.
End of story. And so I don't see why he wouldn't clear this week. But yeah, so they said Hennessy Black said Chip was my second pick for OC. One was McCarthy. Yeah, mine was Chip, Peterson, McCarthy. You know, I wanted experience and spread elements. So yeah, Chip, you know, I can admit maybe I was wrong. I mean, it looks like I was wrong, you know. I mean, I guess you don't know if it's a different situation, but I mean, he got fired, so is what it is. Here's D'Amico on Jalen Reed again just yesterday.
Jalen stepped in and he played swarm football, right? He was see ball, get ball. He's flying around, you know, making plays. Of course, some things to clean up, but I'm encouraged with what he did. You know, being that it was a short week, he didn't get a ton of preparation didn't get any live reps. So for him to go in, right, and do as good of a job as he did in that game, I'm excited for him to just continue to progress and continue growing. Coach Stevens done a really nice job working with Jalen, you know, while he's been out. So the more he gets, I expect him to be even better for it.
See ball, get ball, baby. Yeah, dude, he's a headhunter. I don't realize, like, I guess I'm breaking the crap down out of this film. Like, I guess like I'm able to do it quickly on my computer, but that's a lot of posts. We assigned Amir Speed, a former Colts guy. I know people are saying that's for intel, but I think he wasn't on the Colts this year. It was the year before, so he doesn't know the Lou defense. Texans got John Gruden feeling nicey, baby.
Allen High School playing for championships. How about college football? Hook 'em, wreck 'em, gig 'em. You got to love them. And how about the Houston Texans? You know, not long ago, they were 3-5. They lost to Denver. They lost their quarterback. But have you seen Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, and Kamari Lassiter? It reminds me of that Johnny Cash song. I hear the train a-coming. It's rolling down the track.
Got me feeling nice.
Davis Mills has picked up the slack. And nobody has this defensive attack. Oh! And how about the
That's hilarious. I love John Gruden. But yeah, that's a good question. Is the Amir Speed related to EJ Speed? I don't know. Let me see. EJ Speed. Let me just pull up his Wikipedia to see if he has any siblings. I doubt it, but does it say family on here? EJ Speed. Where would it say on Wikipedia if they have siblings or not? Let's see. Amir Speed, EJ Speed. I don't know. I don't know if they're related or not. Let me see if just Amir Speed is even from the same place. He's born in 1999. He played for Georgia, Michigan State. He was in the 6th round. I mean, maybe that's a good pickup. I've been kind of slacking lately on some of these new signings and really looking into their backgrounds. But I mean, we've seen these guys can step in. And let's see here. We're almost back to the top, kind of getting up here, and then we can touch on the Colts a little bit. Again, I will try and do one later in the week, but just in case I don't, I'll kind of get a little bit of surface level of the Colts, but huge matchup. So, yeah, here's what I said earlier about D'Amico Ryans with Vandermeer and Harris talking about the Bills and Brady and their pass protection scheme.
That's very true. Everybody just has to, first and foremost, like I thought it was a scheme that we don't see much. Like most of the times we're getting a lot of chips. Like there are a lot of like 7-man protection schemes. So they really put a lot on the quarterback's plate to really, all right, guys are going to have one-on-one matchups, and they really were hoping that he could escape the pocket and get past guys. And he's such a big guy, such a tough tackle. So not only, were they able to get to him, but to get him down, that's a really tough tackle. And it was impressive the way those guys got him down. But everybody did what exactly they needed to do. Coach Rod did a really good job. He does a great job of coordinating the games and the stunts that we run. And I thought this was the best game that we had of guys being really in sync, whether we were sending the end inside and wrapping our tackles outside. It was even on our last play of the game, the 4th down play, Sheldon Rankins is wrapping around outside. He's coming free to the quarterback, and it forced Josh to where he could have stepped through and finished his throw. He had to let it go sooner than he wanted to, and that's why Kalen got the pick.
Along those
Yeah, man. It was a choice, and it worked out for us. And so, I highlighted too, watching that Monday night game, which was terrible quarterback play between Brock Purdy and Bryce Young, but kind of twofold. People still try to debate Bryce over Stroud. To me, it's not close. But really, I pointed this out because Stroud was kind of shit on for a great performance against the Niners and discredited. Oh, it was against a banged up Niners defense, not good, blah, 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 blah. But, Bryce Young is all of a sudden really good and had a really good game last game. Was 18 of 29 for 169. Nice. 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Stroud was 30 for 39, 318 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT, which was before half, a deep bomb throwaway, which the receiver actually messed up on, and balled out. And it's basically the same defense. They had one guy back different, really, that made an impact, which was Huff. But, I mean, that Huff wouldn't have changed the outcome like Stroud was dealing. So that's why I pointed that out. But yeah, D'Amico Ryans, he basically says like, want to get more runs with Woody on the outside with our tackles out in space, which I like. And then he says like, I'm trying to get at least 21 each game. And I was like, man, if we scored 21 points in each game, we would be 9-2. That's not a crazy ass. Hey, if y'all can put up 21, we will be 9-2. That's all we got to get from the offense. Yeah, and the playoff chances, they're, all over the board. CBS Sports has us at 38.4%. I don't know how that makes sense. But this is really cool too from Will, talking about Coach right here.
Yeah. That's just, I think it just goes back to the relentless rush. You know what I'm saying? I think Coach really hit it on the head this week. It's like, man, whatever it takes to get him down, like, you're going to miss him one time, but pop back up and get him again. And, like, it's just crazy. Like, when coaches say stuff, you be like, Coach, I don't really think that's going to happen. But then when it actually happens in real life, you be like, okay, Coach was right. So I think the staff did a really good job of just beating that into our heads. Like, just be relentless with everything that we do this week.
Will, on that sack.
18 yards,
Yeah, so I mean, D'Amico, like, there's been multiple times where they come back like, man, Coach said this and it happened. Like, he knows what the hell. He is an elite evaluator and game planner of like opponents. And then here's Kamari via Aaron Wilson talking about Davis Mills.
Now number 7's ready to come back. What does that mean to have CJ back, and what do you think about Davis different?
Man, Davis is a dog. I mean, Davis is even kill. I've seen him come in and just play the hardest position on the field, which is quarterback. Short notice, and I mean, he just did his thing, man. Like, I'm super proud of him. He inspired the team. Just seeing him go out there and make plays, win games, just do what he can for the offense. Like, he's putting points on the board. He's helping us with playing complementary football. I mean, it's amazing.
You've touched on this a bit.
Facts. I mean, inspired the team. He's got respect from him. Saved the season, bro. There's some ESPN praise. I guess we don't really need that. Davis Mills giving Titus Howard praise as he should. We got a mic'd up with Woody. I'll post a couple more, but here's a couple clips. This is Woody and Noel talking about Tommy Townsend.
Kicking that like boy. I kicked that boy. That boy going straight in the end zone. I punted one time in high school and kicked a negative punt. You kicked that Guessan and bounced backwards. Right back towards me. Hey, yeah.
Bills with the ball at their
That's hilarious. Noel saying he kicked a negative punt. And Woody, dude, he's a dog, bro. He's undersized, but I mean, he was, he's not afraid to back down, especially against defensive linemen. Here he is here.
I chipped the out both again out. On that one they was double mug, I chipped the out his.
Give Woody Marsh trying to find a hole up the middle. Does. Takes it to the 16, leads to the 15-yard line.
I got you right behind you.
Your boy went back. The lineman went back. Come here, boy. Hey,
come here, boy.
Big boy. I hit big boy. Hey, he took my old boy.
It's kind of funny to watch like Chubb and Woody on the sidelines, like their friendship. But yeah, I mean, he's not scared, bro. He trucked a defensive tackle and was laughing, and then it was like talking crap. Like, oh, I knocked him back. Look at the replay. Come here, boy. I mean, he's confident, but he's also funny too. But yeah, D'Amico talking about Jaden Higgins.
And Higgins, they've been a great job as well. Man, Higgins, he doesn't get talked about much, but I think as a rookie, like he's come on in our offense, he's been the guy who's really lighting it up, making some big plays, explosive plays on early downs, and in the red zone, he's been the guy who's getting in for us. So we got to lean on him a little bit more as well.
Sure,
Coach. On
he
Friday,
says that each week. We need
Higgins
to lean in on him. I agree. And then let's see, Stephen A. Here's Stephen A. again talking about the Texans.
Stephen A.
I'm going to go with CC on this in terms of the Houston Texans. I haven't seen a defense like that in a long time. The way those brothers can get at the quarterback. I mean, Will Anderson is something special. These brothers are no joke. This defense is ferocious. They've got speed. They hit. They're rough riders. They're very physical. They come after you. And you get the impression, I'm not speaking in a literal sense, fellas, but you get the impression that just give them 14 points. They got you. They got you. You ain't getting anything this way. I mean, they come at you like that. And you understand they're doing this without C.J. Stroud. So C.J. Stroud comes back and he shows you anything relevant or close to the potential he showed you a couple of years ago or so, okay? Houston could be deadly. I view them as my sleeper. You do not want to play this team, not that defense. They are something to behold. I really believe that.
Love it, dude. I mean, but I've been saying that. Like, this is what we've been saying. So I've been saying, like, the public's starting to see it. So it's cool to see that. Let's kind of go through. But yeah, shout out my guy JJ Sugar. Mic'd up is the best thing to happen in the NFL. I agree, dude. I'm a sucker for like reality type NFL stuff, But yeah, so pressures. This is a stat I'm going to cite. Like, again, pressures. Everyone has them differently, but hey, and you watch a tape and like there's a pressure and they don't count it and vice versa. But Danielle Hunter has 57, which is fifth, and 11 sacks, which is third. Will Anderson has 64, which is second in pressures, and then 10.5 sacks, which is fourth. So, I mean, that is an insane duo. I'm going to delete this post because I just realized I double post that, and I apologize. I post way too much to double post. But yeah, so I mean, I think that's pretty much what I got on the timeline. Getting a lot of love. Let's go over to, let's just look at real quick on the Colts. I mean, I've been preaching, the schedule matters. So if you click on the Colts, let's see, schedule. And, they beat the Dolphins. The Broncos on a last second one, beat the Titans, lost to the Rams, beat the Raiders, beat the Cardinals, beat the Chargers, who I think are overrated, beat the Titans again, lost to the Steelers, beat the Falcons in overtime, which they're like an average team, and then lost to the Chiefs. So, I mean, like, we want to proclaim teams as the best thing ever way too early in the season. And so when I look at this, what I said earlier is their whole team is predicated off their run, their rushing offense. And Denver, good rushing defense, last second win. Rams, good rushing defense, loss. And then we got Steelers, decent rush defense, loss. Falcons, I don't even know where they're at. Average, close lot. They haven't placed a rush defense like the Texans, bro. That's all I'm trying to say. So, let's just go to next gen stats, and I'm sure they'll have all the matchups. And I'll show real quick too that they lost in overtime to the Chiefs. But if you look at this game, the Chiefs, they had a touchdown that was overturned by Kelsey with a face mask. So that's 4 points taken away. They had a fumble late that was at least 4 or 3 points. That's, more points there. But you look at the stats, the Colts had 10 first downs to 33 for the Chiefs. Total plays 50 to 91. Total yards 255 to 494. Passing 181 to 346. Rushing 74 to 148. And the Chiefs had 2 turnovers and they had 0. So time of possession 25 to 42. So the Chiefs dominated this game, but they had to they had a bunch of fluky stuff happen. They got shut down. Daniel Jones was 19 of 31 for 181. He played the ratings at 99, but it looks like the stats for Mahomes weren't the best either. But I don't think they're as scary as many people think. I'm not sitting here saying we're going to beat their ass, but I'm also saying we got a shot to win, and I'm not really thinking they're what most people think they are. So let's see if Next Gen Stats has got any previews. Points per game, we're 21st with 22. They are 31, which is first. Point differential, we're 8th with plus 61. They're first with plus 112, or second. Record in close games, we're now 3-5. We were 0-5. They're 3-3. And average margin of victory, 14.2 for us, 16.1 for them. Turnover differential, plus 10 for us, plus 4 for them. And penalties, we're slowly getting better, 77 19th. They're 73, which is 12th. But let's see if there's no insights yet. So, if we just look at let's see, pro preview, do they have key advantages? Passing, so I'm looking at this. It's their offense. Their defense has an advantage against our offense, and our defense has an advantage against their offense. I'll take that, if that's what it comes down to. That's for passing, and then rushing. They seem to have the advantage on both sides. But I think people say we haven't shut down Jonathan Taylor. I know in his last game he played. Let me see if I can pull him up real quick. He did have a good game in his last game he played, but I think he's also 0-3 against DeMeco Ryans, and we've had their number as of late. But let's see, and especially in Indy, we've had their number. But last year in the second game, he had 20 carries for 105 yards rushing, which that we would take. James Cook had a good rushing performance, and they still lost. Same thing here. And then the first game, he was 16 for 48 against us, and they lost 29-27. So that's not really lighting us up per se, like people say. And then you go to 2023, he played us, and that's when that was 2 years ago, completely different defense. And it was in January. I remember that game. That was the game on the line. They lost 23-19, but he was 30 for 188. So he went off in that game. But the last 2, he hasn't. So this narrative about him tearing us up, a lot of it is from 2022. Yeah, okay. DeMeco wasn't here. 31 for 161. Okay, you can't put that in. 2021. He went 14 for 145, and then he went 32 for 143. So people are factoring in games from when when the DeMeco Ryans wasn't even here, and then 13 for 91, and then 16 for 83. So he's a great back. He's going to be a challenge, but we've been able to throttle good backs. It'll be a challenge for sure. If we go to Next Gen Stats, we can kind of look at some of the team overall stats. Let me get to a couple of comments real quick. Brandon says, imagine wanting Grenard over Daniel Hunter this year. Some people are crazy. Yeah, that's wild. Does Next Gen Stats have any Jaden Higgins route charts? I don't know where to find them. I'll have to look at it. JJ Sugar, Colts fans thought they had a comfy ride in that first in the AFC South. The new reality is catching up with them. Stroud has the ball out this game and gets that W. Facts. And they could have easily lost a lot more games. I mean, you know, they're not like as dominant as we think. So Nate Natun says, shout out to Houston legend Austin Deculus holding on the left side down for the Chargers. Prayers up for Herbert when we face them. Oh, damn. I didn't realize that. That's crazy. I forgot we traded him too. User on X, what's your prediction for the game? I think we can win the game. I think it can be like a, you know, path to victory. I think CJ can look good, man. I mean, I could see it being like a 27-20 or even like 24-14. I mean, I could see the Texans winning. But real quick, we'll just kind of go through some of these stats. Offense, yards per game, they're second with 384. Our offense is 19th with 323. And let's see here. We'll go to EPA per play on offense. They are first with plus 0.13, and we are 18th with minus 0.04. We'll go to pass yards per game. They are 7th with 245, and we are 16th with 215. EPA per pass, they are number 7, and we are number 17. Rush yards per game, they are number 4. We just played the Bills, who are number 1, and beat them. You know, so I mean, like, just because they have a rush attack doesn't mean. And that was Josh Allen at quarterback. Obviously, home matters. But as far as us, we are 23rd with 107.6 yards. EPA per rush, they are number 1, plus 0.18, and the Bills are plus 0.07. So if you look at it that way, they're the best through EPA. So, okay, maybe you can say that. Texans are 20th in rush EPA. Quarterback pressure rate percentage on offense, they are, let's see where they're at. Oh, they give up some pressure. Damn. So Daniel Jones, they're the 20th highest at 35.5. Our pressure rate is 9th with 30.9. So we do a better job of protecting our quarterback than the super elite Hall of Fame Colts O-line. Go figure. And if we move over to, let's see, that's pretty much everything on there. We can move over to defense. I guess we could do like advanced splits, but I mean, you could do like inside the tackles, red zone, all that stuff. I probably could start running more, you know, stuff on that, but whatever. Yeah, I'm not in the mood to get that in depth right now. Almost what to call it here, but defense, yards per game, we're first, and the Colts defense is 23rd in yards per game. I mean, 342, and we give up 264. EPA per play. I mean, this is just like the Bills matchup in the sense that it's high-powered offense against a really good defense, and then average to below average offense against average to below average defense is kind of the way I see it. Very similar in that regard. EPA per play on defense, we are first at minus 0.18, tie with the Rams, and they are 14th. So EPA is, you know, suggests their average, which the Bills were right there with them at 16. Pass yards per game, we should be first. We are no longer first. Or the Bills are. Yeah, we're 172. We're third. And the Colts, this could be a CJ game. Where are the Colts? The Colts are 28th in the league in pass yards per game. Like, bro, everything I'm seeing, like, they like to run man. CJ's starting to click. He's coming back. You got Nico. They're going to have opportunities for that. The weakness is their pass defense. They gave up the 28th most pass yards. Part of that can be because they're big leads in game script. But, hey, I mean, I like it so far. And then let's see, EPA per pass. This will kind of tell us how much those yards are inflated. Texans number 1, EPA per pass. Colts are 15th. So they're an average pass defense when you kind of look at that. But and so rush yards per game. Defensively, Texans are number 5, 92.2. The Patriots they played the Broncos, who are number 3. I'm sorry, the Colts, as far as defenses they've played in rush yards per game, They played the Broncos, which they won, could have lost. They played the Chiefs at 8, lost. They played the Rams at 13th, lost. They played the Steelers at 15th, lost. And yeah, after that, all the teams they played, Chargers 16th, Raiders 14th, Titans twice at 25th. So like the rush defense matters, bro. Like the opponent matters, but we'll go to EPA per rush to give us a better picture on that besides just yards. Texans EPA per rush. I think this is a gap here. They have us at 12th. And then, teams that they've played in the top EPA, Broncos, Rams are 3 and 4, loss in close game. And then as far as other teams they've played, Raiders 11th, they won that one. Cardinals, a game they could have lost. There was a pass interference in the end zone, the game-winning pass by Jacoby Brissett, and that did not get called. But then as far as the remaining opponents, you got to keep going down. The Chiefs EPA per rush is only on defenses. They're 21st, and they lost to them. Steelers 24th, lost to them. And then they played the Chargers 26. Okay, yeah, you ran the ball on them. They're 26. Falcons 27th, lost in overtime. They're a terrible rush defense, and you beat them in overtime. Titans are 28th, beat them twice. Who else did they beat? Did they beat the Bengals? No, they didn't play the Bengals. Dolphins were in there too. They're 18th. So like, you get what I'm saying? Like their rush offense is awesome because they've played bad rush defenses. So, but let's see here. JJ Sugar, we're going to break down Daniel Jones. LOL is going to revert back to, yeah, I mean, I could see it happening. They haven't played a defense like us. And Nathan says, maybe it's a recency bias, but the Colts could be really good at those yellow deep passes. Alec Pierce and Josh Allen since AR-15 day. Yeah, Alec Pierce is a very good underrated receiver, and I could see them taking deep shots against our cover 4. And he could make some catches, or you could throw some picks. So, but yeah, that's all I got, fellas. That was a long one. I appreciate you guys. As far as the pie for me, I used to be a pumpkin pie guy, and then as I got older, I'm like 1,000% a pecan pie guy. But appreciate you guys. I will see y'all online. And as far as so I said that too, engineer earlier. I said the Titans can easily upset the Jags. I said the exact same thing, and I could definitely see it happening. So, but as always, check me out on whatever platform. Like and subscribe to all of them. Ratings on Spotify and Apple would be helpful as well. So that is all I got. If you ever need anything, hit me up. Until next time, we blessin'.
Dominican trap.